This isn't about hydration. It's about the invisible fence a high-end hotel builds around your wallet the second you drop your luggage. You're standing in a room that smells like success, staring at a bottle of water that costs more than a gallon of gas, and you're negotiating with your own identity. I remember standing in a Vegas suite myself, counting my last few $100s of profit from a grueling month, and feeling like a total fraud for even looking at the minibar. Yet, I still touched the sensor just to see if I felt rich enough to trigger the charge. You want to be the person who belongs there, so you tolerate the insult of the price. Let's see if you've been falling for this same trap in your own business. A customer complains your intro package is too expensive. What do? Option 1. You apologize and offer a 20% first-time discount to show you're a nice guy. Option 2. You explain the quality versus price logic in a 5-page PDF that they'll never open. Option 3. You lower the price but remove one key feature to save them money. 3, 2, 1. The real move is option 4. You introduce a VIP Platinum tier that costs 10 times more. The $8 water isn't there to be sold. It's there to make the $500 dinner feel safe. This isn't a guess. It's a biological law. In 1974, Tversky and Kahneman proved the Anchoring and Adjustment Heuristic. The first number your brain sees, the anchor, drastically warps your perception of every number that follows. You thought you were being fair by pricing low, but you were actually just telling the customer your value has no floor, making you look desperate instead of disciplined. Hotels don't actually want you to buy that water. They want you to resent it. They want that $8 to be so offensive that when you see a $45 burger on the room service menu, your brain sighs in relief and thinks, well, at least I'm getting a whole meal for the price of 5 waters. It's a trick of the light. Your reasonable pricing is exactly why you're struggling with thin margins and ghosted invoices. Your fairness is just a polite way of telling the customer you're an amateur who doesn't understand their status. Comment below. What's the $8 water in your industry that you've been too scared to list because you're terrified of being called a scammer? Think about the last time you walked into a high-end hotel suite. You've already committed to the $400 a night rate. You're in. Then you see that heavy wooden cabinet in the corner. You know exactly what's inside. Overpriced snacks and a deep sense of future regret. But your hand moves toward the handle anyway, because you've already told your brain this is an expensive weekend. And the logical version of you is currently locked in the trunk of your car. You crack open a $12 tin of Pringles. That click of the seal? That's not just the sound of freshness. That's the sound of your financial resistance dying a quiet death. You've just breached the spending seal, and the hotel knows it. So let's look at your own business. A customer is hovering. They're hesitant. How do you actually increase their average order value without looking like a desperate telemarketer? Option 1. Wait until the very end of the checkout to suggest a tiny add-on. Option 2. Send a follow-up email 3 days later with a special limited offer. Option 3. Give them a free gift to build reciprocity. 3, 2, 1. The 1% answer is option 4, the microtransaction friction. You trigger a small, high-margin luxury purchase as early as possible. You aren't looking for massive profit on this specific item. You're shifting their internal identity from a browser to a buyer. Once they pay for that priority setup or the elite onboarding kit, the seal is broken. They are no longer a person considering your service. They are now a client who invests in quality. In 1985, Nobel laureate Richard Thaler identified this as mental accounting. Human beings don't have one big pile of money in their heads. We have different buckets. Once a guest categorizes their stay as indulgence, the pain center in their brain literally goes quiet. The minibar isn't a snack shop. It's a master key that unlocks the indulgence account. The data is cold. 82% of guests who open that minibar end up ordering a full $500 room service meal within 4 hours. Your crime is treating every dollar in your customer's pocket as if it's the same. You're trying to appeal to their calculator while their ego is the one holding the credit card. In the 2026 market, success is built on mood-based accounting, not math-based accounting. Share a time in the comments when you felt forced to keep spending just because you'd already started a luxury experience. When did you realize you were too far in to stop? Because once that seal is broken, the real spending begins. By the time the $500 room service bill slides under your door, the psychological damage, or rather, the calibration, is complete. You aren't even looking at the numbers anymore. I used to spend hours agonizing over a $3 price increase on my service, convinced I'd be investigated for fraud, while my clients were literally begging to be treated like high rollers. You're sitting there, staring at a $50 charge for a club sandwich, and instead of feeling robbed, you feel distinguished. You've accepted the absurdity because the $8 water was the gatekeeper that told your brain, logic doesn't live here, only status does. This brings us to the ultimate crossroads in your own business. A high-value client looks you in the eye and asks the dreaded question, why should I pay this much for your service? How do you handle the heat? Option 1, you start listing your certifications and your 10 years of experience like a kid reciting a poem in front of the class. Option 2, you pull out a spreadsheet of your cost of goods sold to prove you aren't ripping them off. Option 3, you offer a price match guarantee to show you're a team player. 3, 2, 1. The 1% move is option 4, absolute silence. Let the air in the room get heavy. Then you look back and ask, compared to the cost of not solving this problem, is the price even relevant? In the minibar logic, the high price is the proof of the result. Science calls this the Veblen effect. For a specific class of buyer, the price isn't a barrier. It's a signal of utility and exclusivity. If that hotel water was $1, you'd realize you're staying in a budget room, and you'd never order the $500 dinner. The overpriced water preserves the vibe that makes the big sale possible. I was so busy being affordable that I accidentally told my best prospects I was an amateur. Lowering your price doesn't make people buy more. It just makes them trust your quality less. If you don't give them something to overpay for, they will eventually find a competitor who will. Type remote in the comments if you're finally mentioned at your community more. That makes them the great long and drop into this point. So click at the business of cost with me in the time. Type remote in the comments if you're finally ready to stop selling and start engineering your prices. The $8 bottle of water was never about hydration. It was a psychological calibration tool. By placing an absurd price on a basic item, the hotel reshapes your entire reality before you even open your suitcase. They aren't selling liquid. They are anchoring your expectations so that every subsequent luxury expense feels like a logical progression rather than a financial hit. Your fair business is failing because you refuse to calibrate your customers. You are giving them logic when they are starving for status. You are providing market value when they are looking for an identity shift. Stop being the janitor of your business, sweeping up the crumbs of reasonable pricing, and start being the architect of their desires. The remote control to their spending habits isn't hidden in your product features. It's hidden in the friction you're too scared to create. Will you keep being fair, or will you start winning?